ask a question? How many of you are visiting Israel for the first time?
My dad, Jay Block, is a Republican state senator in New Mexico. He was recently in Israel with a delegation of 250 other state senators and state representatives. I was not aware of this until I saw him tweet about it. And, he described the delegation met with Netanyahu. When he came back from the trip, he posted again on Twitter, saying that there is no genocide in Gaza, that the IDF is doing everything that they can to minimize civilian casualties. And, we know that that's not true. We see footage coming out of Gaza all the time where children are being killed and innocent people are being bombed. So I felt like I had to speak out about that because it's obviously horrific what's happening. And it's really upsetting to see that my own father is essentially lying about what's going on over there. And I think, I don't think that this is an issue of, left-wing politics versus right-wing politics. I think, when it comes to the genocide happening in Gaza right now, it's just, I think it's natural and I think it's human to be upset about that. And nobody deserves, to be bombed, and nobody deserves to be, losing their family members when, they haven't done anything wrong. And, I think there's this narrative that's being pushed by pro-Israel groups that, everybody in Palestine is Hamas and everybody in Palestine deserves to be punished for what happened on October 7th. And of course, what happened on October 7th was also horrific. And again, I think we can be upset about civilian casualties, whoever they happen to, but obviously the Israeli response has been just way out of line, way out of proportion. So I think that's why I chose to speak out about it. And given that my dad is a state senator and in a position of power and influence, at least in the state of New Mexico, I just thought that the voters and the constituents deserve to know, and I think they deserve answers as far as what he and the other New Mexican politicians were doing over there. So, I think the purpose of my video also is just to, bring awareness to this, because it wasn't just New Mexico. I mean, it was 250 state reps and state senators from around the country. I guess I was hoping to, rally other people as well to, demand answers from your representatives, call them, email their offices, and when they're up for re-election, vote them out, because clearly they do not have, their state's best interests in mind. I also, I'm not trying to, incite any violence. I had some comments on my TikTok where people were, leaving threats against me or against my dad. And obviously, violence is not the answer, but definitely because, obviously we live in a democracy and we live in a country that has, freedom of speech. I think people should be allowed to question what this trip was about.